Hello and thank you for joining us on the Tuesday edition of Journalist Hangout. This week, I'm Ayodele Odufowokan. Today on the program, Army intensify efforts to arrest Shekau as Buratai reveals why it is difficult to wipe out Boko Haram. Southwest governors move to sign Amotekun Bill on Friday. And later on the show, federal government meets with electricity workers to avert strike in the power sector. I'll be hanging out with Babajide Kolade-Otitoju and Odufowokan. So if you're ready, let the hangout start now. Well, we'll start the program by commiserating with the secretary to the state government of Katsina State, Alhaji Mustapha Inuwa. His mom passed at the ripe age of 91 just the day before yesterday. Babajide, Alhaji Inuwa, 4 children, 91 kids.
Well, we sympathize with our jolly good friend, Dr. Mustapha Inuwa, over the passage of the mom, and may Allah grant her al-Jannah Firdaus.
Yeah, may God grant to you, Dr. Mustapha Inuwa, the fortitude to bear the loss. Now, like a wounded snake, the Boko Haram insurgency in Nigeria has become dangerous and difficult to tame. Respite can only come when the head is cut off completely. The head of the snake here is Abubakar Shekau, and the army has promised not to rest until it's cut down. In an interview on the recent carnage on the Damaturu Road, a Nigerian Army Commander, General Abdul Ibrahim, said the military is intensifying efforts to arrest the Boko Haram leader, Shekau. He said methods adopted by the military to tackle the guerrilla tactics of the insurgents are yielding results. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Buratai, has also said the military is finding it hard to defeat the insurgents because the leaders, recruiters and fighters live and mix with the local population in the communities. Babajide, before, when we were having one pre-program meeting, we were talking about how come since 2009, how do they get their supplies? How do they get people indoctrinated into Boko Haram? And there are some areas you have children, you have women, that are strong members of Boko Haram, and they have sympathizers of Boko Haram around the Northeast.
Well, they will always find people to fight on their side. Remember, even from Chad, because Boko Haram used to have active cells in N'Djamena, so they can recruit fighters from amongst the disgruntled population in Chad, because Chad has fought a civil war for many years. So they are ready fighters who also have their weapons that Boko Haram can use. In the Northeast, most of the local government headquarters, if not all, are under the control of the Nigerian army. But the hinterland is dominated by Boko Haram. If you remember, the former governor of Borno State even said that during a meeting of stakeholders in Chad, where he said the boys rule the hinterland. We can no longer deceive ourselves that no Nigerian territory is in the hands of Boko Haram. No sensible person will say that.
But as at last week, the ruling party was still saying that. The press release signed by Issa Onilu.
I'm not interested in things that people who do not go to the Northeast say. I'm interested in the truth. I gave an example of a three-hour journey that lasted 3 days, all because the persons involved knew that they dare not pass through Gamborungala from Chad straight to Maiduguri. They dare not. Nobody takes such risk. So you have to come through Cameroon, from Cameroon, enter Adama, from Adama, get to Gombe, from Gombe, come to Damaturu, and then you get to Maiduguri. Who does that except someone who knows that the alternative is death? Who travels 127 kilometers is Maiduguri to Biu? But nobody uses that route. You rather go through Gombe and Adama, 560 kilometers. instead of 127.
It's just like Lagos to Ibadan.
And then
and you have
now,
to go to Ilorin.
more than
more as if you are going to Niger.
Yes. You now have to go to Mokwa, the way to Mokwa just to get to. You see, the truth is, the governor of Borno State said something. He said, I'm being pushed to the wall to say the truth. He said that yesterday. For me, I'm not pushed to the wall to say the truth. I speak the truth compulsively. Because I speak the truth like it's part of me, it's like breathing in and out for me. So the things that I know about the Northeast are products of my constant going to that place. As I said last week, I've been to the Northeast more than I've been to Ilorin, even where my parents are based. In the last 3 years.
Can testify to that.
So I can't go to those places, see my findings now deliberately contradict my own findings. This is the truth. Up till last week, we still rescued people trapped by Boko Haram. So what Boko Haram does is that in the hinterland, the areas where they control, they conscript people, they force people to come and fight on their side. Where they can't force you, they entice you with money. They did that in Madagali and Michika area. I said it on this program, and the then spokesman of the army, SK Usman, confirmed that people were being given money in the Madagali area to come and fight for Boko Haram.
Money?
They give them loans. They know that people are poor in those areas, so they will offer you loans.
And the presence of government is not felt.
No. How many places do you go to in that area that you even have a semblance of government presence? No hospitals. People are very poor. So this is the thing. This is the reality. If those people are there, they force them. The ones that they can use, they turn them to fighters. The one that they want to extort, get ransom off them, they say, okay, they get ransom. This is how they are able to sustain this battle. And in my view, Shekau is no longer the factor. There are at least 3 functional Boko Haram factions now.
Okay.
And those ones are the deadly factions, the factions taking on the military, taking the battle to the military, killing our people. Shekau is very weak. He hardly even shows up for his fighters, except a few members of his Surah Council. You can't have access to Shekau because it distrusts anyone. Once that group was broken into factions, if he suspects that you are not loyal, Shekau will take your life. So even thousands of his own members have never seen him in their lives.
Is Shekau himself even a target to the other factions?
Yes, no, because after they broke out, anywhere they encounter members of Shekau's faction, they fight them, they kill them, they release even the detainees in their hands. This is the thing.
These swap guys are not in sync with the Shekau
faction. They are more effective. The Shekau, when you see them, they are better organized. They wear uniform. Their own
Timberland.
Two different uniforms, brown and black. They have special forces.
Yeah, in front.
The Abanawi faction have special forces. They have their uniform. The non-special forces, they have their uniform. If you see the Shekau's people, they don't have any uniform. They're just ragtag. Even what they wear is not. So you see evidence of funding, evidence of training, evidence of planning. You see
from
in
the sub guys.
Yes. Because that is, Shekau's group was abandoned by ISIS, and they named a new leader. There is a new leader now, out of the Abanawi faction.
Out of the Abanawi faction?
Who goes by the name Idris. Idris is the new leader of the, recognized by ISIS. So, you want to imagine that even in the future, there will be exchanges between these guys. But what they have done is to simply, okay, you hold the Lake Chad area, stay there. In our own case, we will operate within the fringes of Yobe State, right up to the border with Niger, Gaidam, all of those areas, because they know that once they come into the Minok, Benishek, and Jakana area, and I don't know, they can move straight into Sambisa, and from Sambisa, through in the Konduga area, they can go all the way all the way to the northern Borno.
Larry, I think we have a kind of hydra-headed problem here, because the reality is now staring at us, our faces now, because nobody can come to tell us that, oh, those guys have been technically defeated. You can't come to tell Nigerians with what we see on a daily basis, the carnage we see from the northeast.
Well, you see, I read the release you were speaking about.
Yeah,
I also had Buratai speak about
that they are not holding any territory.
About 3 or 4 days ago. He said there is no territory in the hands of Boko Haram. I've also had other government functionaries and other military functionaries say the same thing. However, if you place the task statements they keep giving us beside the explanation Babajide just read out now, with names of the town, the places, and the persons, I am moved to hope that one day either Buratai or the spokesperson of the government or the spokesperson of the army will give us similarly detailed explanation of how the Northeast is now free of Boko Haram. So that we'll be able to place these two side by side and decide what the truth should be. Having said that, I want to believe that until we face what the reality is, we may not be able to solve this problem. One thing I've been saying is that this current administration, I keep giving Buhari a lot of credits in the war against terrorism in the Northeast. Maybe because I keep comparing what we have now to what it used to be. And if you look at what it used to be, especially during the dying days of the Jonathan presidency, to what we have now, it's a far cry. These guys are guerrilla fighters. They will keep coming and going until you read the area of them. But this government is making one big mistake, and that is denying the obvious. When you engage in too much denials, you will not be able to solve the problem. What will it take the army generals or Buhari himself to say, look, we are being overwhelmed in the hinterlands by Boko Haram? If we say that, then you cannot leave the cities. Instead of allowing Boko Haram to come all the way to Maiduguri yesterday or day before yesterday to rot that kind of carnage, why don't we agree that they are holding territories in the hinterland? Then we'll move the fighting forces to block them to where they are. If you engage them where they are by owning up that yes, they have territories in their hand and we need to take those territories from them, but you are telling us they are nowhere to be found again, yet they keep coming. Are you telling me they are coming from Mali or from Libya?
Where do they plan their operations?
Where do they sit to plan operations? And if somebody is coming from a very far distance, and I want to agree with the government and the army that there is no Boko Haram cell in Nigeria again. So the closest you can have is Chad. Okay, if somebody is coming from Chad to come and do,
said.
Yes, that's the closest. I want to agree. They are coming from Chad, AY, to do what they did in Maiduguri, and none of our intelligence picked anything. It will take, from the explanation he gave, it will take days to move, because of course we have some army formations in the straight road, so they too we have to go through. So 2 days, 3 days, 72 hours of moving forces, of moving men and ammunition, and our intelligence did not pick anything. And yet we say we have found a way of isolating Boko Haram, defecating Boko Haram. There is no English we don't want to use in ensuring that Nigerians believe what the government wants to say.
We'll still say people.
Yet it is not only this bombing, killings, fightings between Boko Haram and our own army on Nigerian soil. So where did those fighters come from? I want the government and the army. You see, I think the deniers is stem on the fact that we don't want to change tactics. You want to keep the army chiefs. You want to keep telling Nigerians that we are spending a lot of money when fighters and others say they don't even have ammunition. So let us face the reality. The reality is Boko Haram is still very active. Now you have the factions. And once a terror group breaks into groups, into factions, the problem is doubled, if not tripled, because the 3 factions now will be recruiting. The three factions now will be getting funding. The three factions now will be planning attacks. And these are the people you have to, condone. So Nigerian government, the army, and the defense headquarters needs to face the reality. And the reality is that Boko Haram is still very, very strong and still very active.
Now, given the ultimatum that any time from now, it's, Shekau should be apprehended, and we've...
That is fresh ultimatum. No,
he has been killed several
has,
over and over
he has
again.
stopped giving ultimatum. After those ultimatums didn't yield Shekau's head, the Chief of Army Staff has stopped giving ultimatums. So I don't think there is a fresh ultimatum. We are just saying that we will work towards.
Now, getting him now, from your explanation, that doesn't solve the problem.
Oh, Shekau is not a threat anymore. I spoke with senior generals in the army, and they told me that, look, the biggest threat we face now is the Abanawi faction. Back then, yes, because of their capability. Any fighting group that can successfully dislodge the army from their bases, not once, not twice, not even 5 times.
Audacity.
There was a time, there was a particular month when they were moving from army base to army base. Remember the attacks on Zari, on Metele, Gajiran, different places, before we now came up with the attack of super camps. The idea of super camps is to make the army bases stronger, concentrate our weapons, because Boko Haram was just stealing our gun trucks for fun. When they overrun an army base, they steal your gun truck, they steal your night fighting goggles. So Boko Haram likes to fight at night. If they have night vision, goggles, it means that night will be like daytime, and it's a kind of advantage. So we have now made it difficult, if not impossible, for them to dislodge us from any army base anymore. But the disadvantage in that is that many communities have now left unprotected. I remember when even the Minister of Defense, when he went to, I think, Gubio, he was saying, where are the soldiers who are supposed to guide this place? You know? So this is the thing. And it's the same point that the governor of Borno is making, that this, I know, since he became governor, that community has been attacked 6 times. Why can't we put an army base there to protect the people?
Near the gates that the people used to...
But you see, the truth is that when you put... If Boko Haram is desperate, if an area falls along their supply line, they will keep attacking the army base that is there until you probably leave that place for them. I've seen examples.
The supply line.
If their supply route, they would do everything to hold that ground. Because it's their supply route, they would do everything to hold that ground, including constant attack on troops. By the time the troops are attacked like 4 times, we will close the base. This is what is happening. I can give examples, but these are not. This is not the sort of thing that one will want to go into details about. So this is the thing. Let us. Our own tactics should also change, since we know that the enemy is constantly evolving. The enemy is constantly surprising us. We too have to change. We have talked. I like what that general said. That look, that we have to, that we have weapons, but we need enough. We need more. I think that by now, government should do, the federal government should do its utmost to give them more weapons, so that they will turn from a defensive force to an attacking force. Before you can become an attacking force, you must have vehicles.
More than enough.
Yes, that you can roll those tanks out, and then confront the enemy.
Our air power must be strengthened. Well, Dari, moving forward now, when you want to look at, we talk about recruitment, and we want to, government will need to do more than the use of military force to stem the tide of this recruitment.
Yes, exactly.
Those guys, they are very organized.
Because one thing that baffles me is the fact that since 2009, we have been campaigning against the kind of thing going on in the Northeast. We have called it several names. It is terrorism, and in the mosque in the churches, everywhere, the preaching has been going on. Don't be party to this. It is deadly, it is unpatriotic and all that. But since 2009, many Boko Haram fighters are being killed, yet they have enough. That's to tell you that there is something they are doing we are not doing. And I have narrowed it down to two things. One, we are fighting militarily. The issues of social contract, we are not looking at it. They set up government when they occupy a place. I watched the video where they gathered the people and they were asking them, if you want to eat, this is the person you will see. If you don't have food on your own, you can come and see this. Don't steal. You need to see. Maybe it's a small village actually, but reading out, they were giving the people some form of social contract that we are responsible for your welfare. Don't steal from your neighbor. Go to so person if you don't have food to eat. They, yet a country, Nigeria, you just told us how bad those places are. No infrastructure. The people are very poor. When you have this kind of war going on in a place, I think the government will have paid certain attention to the lives and welfare of the people. Okay, these are the people in these war-prone areas. The moment they fall back into our hands, this is what we'll do. Is it that we have some loans or credit scheme to help them live better lives? All these Bank of Industry, anchor borrower thing, are they not being carried out in those places? Why should we think if we leave? No, that is a way you can get them to feel the impact, at least in places still under our control. You are talking about Boko Haram offering money to people to fight. When they are poor, you want to tell me somebody who is comfortable who collects money and go and fight? No. But a man who has no hope,
who is not sure of the next meal,
who is not sure of the next meal, who does not even know that a government exists, the little money offered to him, you collect and
then they get told that, look, if you fight on our side and you die, you are
going straight to heaven.
Straight to heaven. Even the Jew of Amnesty said that when you are confronted with a man who
thinks he's fighting for his
made to
faith,
believe that if he dies he's going to heaven, how do you convince him
to stop fighting,
to not even want to die?
He even wants to die.
embark on that suicide mission.
Yes, he wants to die and go to heaven because here
there are people that the army have rescued.
Who went back?
Who went back to
the enclaves.
Yes, they went back. Especially some women, they've gone back.
Because there they have free meals.
So the thing is the indoctrination. I don't even think it's so much. We can take good care of them. You understand? We can take good care. People that we have rescued.
Are we taking good care of them?
No, they take good care of them. They give them clothes and all that. Even people are envious. Look, the government is taking good care of people, Boko Haram fighters who have changed their ways. It's the same way we take care of people that we rescue. They clean them up, they take them to hospital, to test them and all that. But the indoctrination is the issue. Many of the Chibok girls have now converted, married to Boko Haram commanders. So you can't even tell them, look at the picture that they released the other day. Those girls were carrying guns, Chibok girls. And they are saying, no, they are going nowhere. So this is the situation. Years of indoctrination.
They have been radicalized.
Their brains have been scrambled. You cannot, whatever you say to them now amounts to empty gas because they have made up their minds that this is the right path to follow. This is the right path to follow. And you can't convince them that it is wrong. You see,
but we can do a lot to those who are yet to be radicalized. We can do a lot to those who are yet to be brainwashed.
Absolutely there. Now, still to come, Southwest governors move to sign Amotekun Security Initiative Bill on Friday. Stay with us. We'll be right back after this breather. Welcome back. If you're just joining us, this is Journalist Hangout. Political exigencies and legal correctness are most times at variance. Now, the hues and cries over the legality or otherwise of the Southwest Security Initiative, codenamed Operation Amotekun, is about to be laid to rest. Now, there are indications that the Southwest governors may sign the Amotekun Bill on Friday this week. Ekiti State Governor John Kolade-Otitoju, who received the state Amotekun Bill from his Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice, Wale Fakunda, said the governors have promised to give it accelerated discussion and send it to the various houses of assembly this week. Babajide, I think they've gone back to the drawing board from the advice they got from Nigerians and even from the observation of the Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu and the observation of the Attorney General. Now to give this thing a legal bites. So from the state houses of assembly, and will it from all the states together?
Yes, we want to do it simultaneously. The Oyo State Governor is submitting the bill tomorrow. It's wasting no time about submitting it tomorrow. But the assent, some of the houses of assembly are calling their members back from
those
recess.
on vacation.
Yes, so that they can look at this thing and deal with it expeditiously. So on Friday, the governors are likely to give the assent the same time. So this is the thing. They've consulted widely. The attorney generals of all the 6 states met with one of the best lawyers in our country who helped them with the drafting. There are 38 provisions in that bill. You know, talking about the criteria for enlistment into the Amotekun Corps, talking about the functions and the establishment of the Amotekun Corps. So all the things that people ask for, the legal framework, have clearly been dealt with now. So it's just a matter of the governors coming together on Friday, because they have agreed that, okay, not beyond Friday, that they are going to sign this.
Just the State House of Assembly or under their governors, it will go through the first reading, second reading, and whatever reading.
Sanwo-Olu was talking here the other day about his budget.
Yes.
And the program had not even ended when they gave his assent. There is no need to waste time over something like this. Everyone recognizes that at this time we need the homegrown solution to our security problems, and Amotekun represents the homegrown solution to the security problem in the Southwest. Governor Kolade-Otitoju said the bill is to ensure that our highways and bushes are free from banditry and robbery, of kidnapping, of all forms of brigandage and criminalities in our states. So you can imagine that the wording of the bill will be the same across board. But as he said clearly, this is just an offshoot, if I can use that word, of the federal government initiative on community policing. So no one should see it as simply something set up merely to protect the Southwest people or a regional idea. No. Anyone who is resident in the Southwest, who is involved in legitimate business, if you are a Fulani man, you are rearing your cattle, you will be protected against cattle rustling, because you deserve to be protected against cattle rustling. If you are a Fulani man, you conduct your business here, you are a rich man, you will be protected against kidnapping, because kidnapping is not limited to any race. Here in the Southwest, if you are a rich a Fulani man, you can be kidnapped. So this Amotekun thing is meant to protect everyone. No one should see it as, oh, it's just to protect the Southwest. I mean, it's nonsensical to think in that manner. Once the police and the Amotekun, because they are going to work together, once they are in any state, their duty is to guarantee security. They are not going to look at your face or ask you where you come from before you are protected. This is the essence of it, and is the essence of community policing at its best.
Dari, what do you make of the legal framework proposed?
We should look forward to something that will satisfy the hues and cries we had over this. I am certain because beyond the governors' meeting, the attorney generals of all the 6 states met for days. The speakers of all the 6 states House of Assemblies also met, discussing the same issue. Finally, the majority leaders of all the 6 states House of Assembly were in Ibadan for like 3 days, fine-tuning the documents, looking at, you see, localizing the ones that need to be cut to size to fit our own local environments and communities, and harmonizing the opinions to ensure that it is one draft in all the 6 states. Now, after that, the the state governments, through the Attorney General, came up with the final bill. The governors, through the Attorney Generals, are to present them to the assemblies. I know some states will present their own today, others tomorrow. By Thursday, working, they are time conscious because the governors want to assent to it. Like we said here sometimes ago, that it will make a lot of sense. It will send across this message of determination, seriousness, and cohesion if the 6 of them can sit together and sign the bill into law, same day, same moment, same place. Or the one in Lagos is signing by 3:15, the one in Ekiti is signing by 3:15, and the same day, same time. And it is, the news goes viral that this is what has been done. It will give the initiative that kind of uncommon cohesion. If it is premised on this kind of thing, then we begin to see.
And it will show to the criminals that we mean business.
We mean business, and all we are saying is leave the region.
Babajide, it seems the Southwest is like blazing the trail, and the template now is about to be replicated in most other regions. People are saying it that, look, if it could work here, then we can also copy and replicate it in other regions.
I'm sure they will want to see how it works before some regions, some parts of the country copy it. You know, the idea of even the geopolitical zones is not recognized by law. So it's just creation. It's not recognized by law. So, but the governors of the North have always come together. They've always had things in common. They've always had even businesses that they were doing together. New Nigeria, NNDC, and the rest of them. So I believe that if this thing works in the Southwest without necessarily breaching our constitution, other parts of the country, the Southeast, for example, they're already eager to start something like this. But let us see how it works in the the Southwest. And I want to expect that even the police will give them all the backing that they need. I was reading somewhere that the governors were going to request license for guns from the IG. Yes, they need at least what was it called? Dane guns, because even the civilian JTF and they use Dane guns.
Civilians use arms.
And the other security outfit that the governor of Borno State, the Agro Rangers, the Agro Rangers that is set up, they also carry weapons. So they need these weapons not just as a form of deterrent, but at least even to protect themselves. Once you know that this person, you are a criminal, you know that these guys, they are armed, you too, you know that you have to behave yourself. And of course, I expect that there will be understanding between them and the IG. The IG and the police should not be hostile to an idea that is meant to complement their work. These people are out to assist you. You can't be everywhere. You don't have enough policemen to police our country. The policemen that we have cannot fully secure our country. So the police need to be assisted in this manner. And once they work together, I said it before that I will only support Amotekun on the condition that Amotekun works with the police. So, and I'm confident that Amotekun will work with the police. No. They have to work with the police, complement the work of the police. In fact, where you have the Amotekun, the police should never be far away. What I want to see on our roads is what you call the motorized checkpoints. Not necessarily just police or Amotekun standing at one spot. Motorized checkpoints mean that your vehicle, your van will be driving, just looking for flash points, this and that, and then you turn, you go back. When people see that, when criminals see that, they know that, look, this area is secure. They can't tolerate, the people, they will not tolerate misbehavior of any form. So let's have that. We have the police on the road. We have Amotekun operatives on the road. There's no way the area won't be safe. I must commend the Southwest governors because they've kept this area largely safe. They've committed resources to keeping our people safe. The kind of kidnapping that you hear about in Kaduna, in Katsina, in all of these places, they don't happen in the Southwest. And it's not because of anything, it's because they are consciously fighting. Not that they don't happen at all. Not at the rate, yes, because I know that even in Ondo State, they still kidnap. But this area is still far safer based on police records. Because I look at police, the number of kidnappers arrested across the country, I could see that when it got to the Southwest, the number tapered down seriously. When you go to the northwest, it's very high. Kaduna was on top. So this is the thing.
As expected.
Of course, based on what we see, I would have been shocked if Kaduna was not on top.
Dari, solution?
Well, we have the solution on our hands. Amotekun, for example. Now let us ensure that we do all that is necessary legally, because anything that runs contrary to the Constitution will create fresh problems. So in trying to solve security problems, we shouldn't create constitutional problems. And I also want to commend the governors of the Southwest for taking this initiative, while calling on the governors of other zones of the country to look inward. In looking inward, they should also see the federal government for the first time since we returned to democracy, we have a government that is finally or tactically agreeing to community policing openly. Even Buhari himself said it, that we may have gotten to the time when we need to seriously consider community policing. So let's tap into that opportunity. He has mentioned it. The Attorney General has said they are not averse to it. Then Amotekun is taking off. It is being fine-tuned through the various states House of Assemblies. If it starts, other zones should find ways of replicating this kind of thing in a manner that will help complement the work of the police and other security agencies in their various zones. The idea of this zonal or regional security initiative is that it is not only a state that is secured. The boundaries between each state will be secured. And now, if we now have a regional initiative in Southeast, it tells us that the boundary between the Southwest and the Southeast will also be secured. If you take off in the South, the boundaries between the Southeast and so gradually, we will have laid the foundation for what policing will look like in Nigeria tomorrow. The kind of policing we have in America, you have the New York department, and you have each state and even counties having their own police department. We are gradually, through the Amotekun struggle, we are laying the foundation for what
state
police
should
be.
That's not what people want to hear. It's not state police.
I have just said we are laying the foundation for what policing should be in Nigeria too. So because until we get policing right, the issue of insecurity will persist. We have less number of police to the population. Nigeria was declared the most under-policed country in the world. It is not a good thing. We have population. The fact that we have so many people, a huge population, should also translate to a huge army, a huge police force, and the likes.
All right, and finally, The power supply infrastructure in Nigeria is standing on tenterhooks, and the battle can lead to the outright collapse. Now, a 14-day ultimatum for a strike issued by members of the National Union of Electricity Employees on the 29th of January might have been averted thanks to the reconciliation meeting between the Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, and leadership of the Electricity Union in Abuja. The minister told journalists after the closed-door meeting that parties involved have agreed to settle issues within 60 days. Jide, can you tell us what the Ajero people are agitating for now?
No, since the privatization idea came 7 years ago, entitlements of the workers of the old PACN who had to be laid off have not been paid. Some were underpaid, some no pension paid to them. So if you are laying off workers because you are privatizing,
sold the companies.
yes, you are selling off the assets of the company, then they have to be paid. That is why even for NNPC and other government assets that people would rather want sold, because government is not good at conducting business. The reason people stand firm that no, you are not going to allow you to sell this Nigerian asset is because of the way they will be treated. In the event of the privatization going through, they are not sure that they won't get the wrong end of the stick. They are not sure, or the short end of the stick. They are not sure that they will be, their interests will be taken care of. So how can you, after 7 years of privatizing PACN, breaking it into GENCOs and DISCOs, you have not paid the entitlements of the workers that were laid off? Every time these people complain or issue threats, you will say, no, you are going to do it. Even now, what the minister has said is that within 60 days, these demands, their demands, will be looked into. They are also complaining that even check-off dues were not remitted and all that. What is the point in taking check-off dues off people's wages that are not remitted? I mean, it makes no sense. It makes no sense. So they are saying, look, pay these people. Some of the people have died while chasing their money. You know, some of them have died just chasing their money. So they are saying, look, this time around, you've got to pay. Of course, on January 29, they issued that 14-day ultimatum, and everyone felt that, okay, within that time, the government will do something. But government has a way of, at the last minute, quickly calling you for a meeting. Once they see that ultimatum is close to its end, they will call you for a meeting. Now, government has bought more time for itself in form of these 60 days. And Ajaero is saying, look, we've been on this thing for so long. Issues of underpayment, non-payment of people's entitlement. You are moving it forward by another 60 days. How are we sure that within the 60 days, those issues will be addressed? So we can only hope, because if they push these people to go on a strike, the last time electricity workers went on strike, as short as that strike was, we lost about 4 billion.
I remember.
You know, we lost for about 4 billion. So it will really hurt the economy if we should allow a strike to take place. So it's better that those issues are addressed once and for all.
Barry, do you think the government just want to buy time with these 60 days? Can those issues, they are fundamental issues, and some will have to do with monetary payment of money and of this severance allowances to these affected people within 60 days? How feasible is that?
At the risk of sounding like a pessimist, I want to tell you that the government that did not find solution to these issues in 2 years, since Ajero and Co. has been raising these issues fresh, as in their fresh agitation now. This is something that has been known for years, but then there was an ultimatum about a year ago. They eventually went on strike. the issue were not resolved. Now, another 14 days ultimatum was about to elapse when these 60 days were procured by the minister. I think it is just a matter of let us push forward the evil day. And that will not augur well for anybody. But my take actually on this issue goes back to privatization. From the little I know of economics, I know that when you inherit the assets of any organization or conglomerate, you also inherit the liabilities. But the last privatization, it is not only in old NEPA that this happened. We had Daily Times. We had
Nigeria Airways.
Airways.
Okay,
Was it no? Not Airways. The postal.
Nitel.
Nitel. You discover that some of these people who took over these properties and agencies have even started selling some of the assets. Properties. I am aware of one that sold off a vast expanse of land somewhere in Ikorodu, belonging to one of these privatized organizations.
Buildings. The victim of that.
Asset stripping.
Asset
stripping.
They started stripping the organization of assets.
So sometimes when they are eyeing the government,
it is because of the properties.
It's because of the asset stripping that
not,
they will do.
So,
not because they want to continue that line of business.
They value.
The government always tells them that, look, you must continue that line of business because they have employees.
But what have they done to those
who
didn't
employees?
Continue?
You can't come and just do asset stripping.
But that is what most of them did. The issue of NEPA is such that they were supposed to, also inherit these liabilities. I am surprised it is government that is still discussing this issue. When the companies or the organizations have been passed to private sector. So is government going to pay the debts while they hold on to the properties? Whoever drafted
government has 40% shares in each of those.
So 40%.
In those Gencos and the.
So with government's 40%, they will pay old salaries. Old
no,
pensions.
Not, what I'm saying is that those things do not totally belong to them.
No.
And government representatives are on the boards.
Why is it that they are not agitating against the new owners with 60%? When government has, you see, the draft of whatever document we use to do this privatization needs to be re-examined. Those who signed on our behalf, they have explanations to offer. It was a giveaway. Most of those things were giveaways. Now, because if they were to continue the line of business, most of the people they laid off, they wouldn't have laid them off. Now you are laying people off from work, you pay them their entitlement. You didn't do that. 7 years, 8 years after. Government have to just step in and help pacify people who are aggrieved. I don't think we were fair to Nigeria.
That sector is already facing a lot of challenges. Now it will be very, very difficult, or it will be very, very problematic to, allow them to go on strike. What kind of other negotiating this mechanism can they put in place? Because I know you said 4 billion naira, and what it will cost us ultimately, this 60 days, the day it will come and go, we'll be here and we'll be talking about
that's
strike.
The problem.
Well, the truth is, under this administration, you can say that when it comes to negotiating with workers, Ngige has done a good job. He always finds a way to solve the problem. You've seen threats of strike and all that. When that time comes, the strike will not happen, and they will agree on some principles and all that. So I want to believe that
you did well in that sector.
I want to believe that Ogige will be able to stop them from going on strike. And we are talking about 2,000 workers. The same government that paid, that released money for payment of Nigerian waste workers. The same government that brought out money to pay Biafra ex-servicemen. I think that they can find the money to pay these 2,000 workers. So you just have to encourage them 2,000 workers, I believe that after a meeting with the Discos and Gencos, they have to find a formula to pay off these guys. If it's going to be shared with government, because those companies are also partly owned by government, 40% shares in Gencos and Discos, in each of the Gencos and Discos, is significant. You know, TCN government is holding on to TCN 100%. So we should be able to come up with a formula that will ensure that they are able to pay these guys so that they don't go astray. Because I'm sure this time around, if they don't, one, the issues of non-remittance of check-off dues, they should be able to resolve that easily. Why would you do that? Then underpayment means that, okay, you didn't pay some people in full. They should be able to pay them the balance. And some of these guys have died already. So
The family,
I believe that. I'm confident that Gige will be able to do his magic once again. And the truth is there are all kinds of things that the government inherited. Inherited liabilities as a result of government ASU crisis. They inherited liabilities in this one, because they were not, they didn't, they are not the authors of this arrangement. But now, since those guys the former government didn't pay, government is a continuum, they are now obligated to pay.
Yeah.
So let them just save Nigerians from the embarrassment of a strike in the sector that is so important.
And Dari, I want to thank you for being part of today's program.
Very much.
Dari Odufowokan, thank you for the Nation newspaper, and the master himself, Babajide Kolade-Otitoju. Thank you for always being there.
Thank you.
And that's it on Journalist Hangout. Join us tomorrow for another episode of the program. Watch Journalist Hangout on our platforms showing on the screen. You can also catch us on YouTube, youtube.com/TVC News Nigeria. Our feedback channel is Journalist Hangout at tvcnews.tv. I'm Ayodele Zubakun. Bye for now. See you tomorrow, and God bless Nigeria.